Who are the players you should be targeting most in your DFS lineups for Super Bowl 57 between the Eagles and Chiefs? How much should you invest in Patrick Mahomes? And who's the big star of the game that's going to really pay off? It's time to break it down right here and right now as we begin another edition of Locked On Fantasy Football.
Are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NFL fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Locked On Fantasy Football Podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Vinnie Iyer. I'm not doing this. I'm writing about NFL and fantasy football for sportingnews.com. This is Locked On Fantasy Football, so we'll break down the DFS version of Super Bowl 57. We've given you the insight on the matchup as a whole, ranking the players, how they stack up against each other based on these defenses for Philadelphia and Kansas City, and the usage and talent of these players in the game, as well as our extended look at the prop bets there across the board on FanDuel Sportsbook. Now we will get into DFS picks, so we'll go through the three pillars of our DFS interest in this game. We'll do the FanDuel cash games and look at how we want to construct a lineup there for that format. Then we'll look at the DraftKings tournament, a little bit different there, pivoting to a different strategy. And then we'll close the week looking at our prize picks of the week as well. So just going for more or less than those prize picks projections here for the game based on the yardage totals. So a lot of good stuff we'll break down for you, and it's all correlated. We kind of think one way in one place and carry that over to other places. So we'll break that down in full for you. Speaking of FanDuel, this episode of Locked On Fantasy Football is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of the NFL. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. Thanks again for making Locked On Fantasy Football your first listen today and throughout Super Bowl week. We're available to you on all platforms wherever you get your podcasts. All right, let's dive right in. We'll start with our FanDuel cash games picks for the game. And let's look at how we want to construct this roster. Now, the difference between FanDuel and DraftKings, we don't have to invest more to give ourselves the multiplier on the top player here. So that immediately says I want to go after Patrick Mahomes. There's not too much difference here in the price between Mahomes at 7,500 or 17,500, I should say. 7,500 would be a bargain, but he's still $500 only more than Jalen Hurts here. So 17,500 versus 17,000. Yeah, we're going to go with Mahomes. We want to get him in the lineup where we can get creative about what we can do with $500 less with the rest of our lineup elsewhere. But Mahomes, you just know he's a safe guy, right? In these type of situations, if you're just looking to know who's going to pass a lot and deliver. I mean, Jalen Hurts is a little bit more volatile. The rushing is up and down. The passing is just a little bit shaky. I do have faith in him that he will come through in this one for fantasy, but you might as well pay up for Mahomes with a little difference there. It's a good place to start. And of course, with the no price difference between him and the regular guys in your lineup for this more compressed FanDuel version, I think you definitely go with Patrick Mahomes. So we're going to start there. That's a good way to go. Now, I think you also want to attach yourself to key targets from Mahomes. So I may look at, can I afford Travis Kelce? So getting a little aggressive here, but this gives you a little bit more flexibility. You have Travis Kelce at a good price here at 14,000. So yeah, you can definitely get Travis Kelce into this lineup. So we're going to do it. And again, Mahomes, Kelce, it doesn't seem to make sense if we're not attaching Mahomes to his go-to receiver in this particular format based on the pricing. So yeah, Travis Kelce for sure at that price point. Now that means we're not going to do a lot more with the rest of these guys in the lineup that we don't have a lot of investment. So we'll have to look at some bargain picks, but we might as well keep going with the expensive guys first, so then we know what we have. So Mahomes to Kelce, so we've got that connection. That stack is part of what we're looking at here. Again, Kelsey's going to have Mahomes have a big game. Mahomes vice versa. So we'll table the rest of any Chiefs picks here for a moment. Let's go to the Eagles side of things. The number one Eagle I like in this game beyond Jalen Hurts is A.J. Brown. And Brown's going to help Hurts put up numbers here, but 12,500 for A.J. Brown. I think he has a massive game. He's overdue for one of these games to just take over. And this young secondary, Trent McDuffie on the outside, he got talked about Jalen Watson and Josh Williams, and two other rookies there, as well as a L'Jarius Sneed, who's a better slot cover man. So no matter what they do with A.J. Brown, inside or outside, the Eagles should have a lot of success. This is the type of game they acquired Brown for, to stretch the field, dominate here. And I just don't think between the Chiefs corners handling Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown, that's going to be very difficult. And I don't know if they'll double A.J. Brown. I think Devonta Smith has been just as dangerous. They also have to worry about Dallas Goedert and maybe give some safety help there to their linebackers. So I think it's an A.J. Brown big game here. And we've talked about that all week, but we're going to put it to the test in DFS. He's the Eagle I want the most if I can't get Hurts, 12,500. So those are our big ticket players, so to speak, here, Mahomes, Kelsey, and A.J. Brown. Now let's go to what we have to do to complement these guys. So I'm not even thinking about Miles Sanders. We talked about that. I'm not sure about his touches, but Kenneth Gainwell, nice price at 8,500 here. So that gives me more exposure to the Eagles. I do like the Eagles to win the game. So I think Brown's going to play a big part of that, but so is the running game. I think Gainwell is going to gain more on Miles Sanders. And remember, Sanders and Boston Scott are free agents next year, so they want to look more at Gainwell. And he's been also very effective. He had his first career 100-yard rushing game in the playoffs. So Kenny Gainwell, for sure, is the guy you're looking at 8,500, because we have to go to the four digits here beyond Mahomes, Kelsey, and Brown. Now, that leaves some money for Kadarius Toney at 7,000. I do like Kadarius Toney more so than wanting to invest in Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdes-Scantling as much as possible. So I'm going there. I just don't want to go down to Sky Moore, Mecole Hardman, or Justin Watson, but I also don't want to think that Smith-Schuster and MBS will have a big role when one of those guys could be easily out of the game. Where I think Toney's going to be involved. He's fully healthy now at 7,000. So that's how we break it down for the FanDuel cash games this week. Mahomes and Kelsey from the Chiefs as the primary, Brown as the top Eagle we're looking at. And to complement Brown, we're going to Gainwell out of the backfield behind Sanders, and then really maybe having a bigger role. And then Toney, look, if they're all interchangeable, you might as well go for the cheapest guy within reason. I don't want to, again, play Moore. I think Moore could have a big game if they use him a little bit more as a secret weapon. They could also use some two tight end sets, but I think Toney will be on the field quite a bit here for the Chiefs. All right, so there's your picks for FanDuel cash games. We'll get a DraftKings tournaments in our next segment. And of course, we're going to close with our prize picks of the week for Super Bowl 57. Valentine's Day is coming up, which means romance is in the air more than usual. I don't need to tell you and your significant other that you probably had your date plans on the calendar for weeks, but have you found the perfect Valentine's Day gift yet? Whether you're celebrating this day of romance or whether you're ready to pop the question, you can find jewelry as unique as she is with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. At BlueNile.com, you can find the perfect piece of jewelry for life special moments, or even create the custom engagement ring of her dreams. Their simple online tools let you choose the diamond shape, size, and clarity, as well as the setting style. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft that perfect piece to your specifications. Blue Nile provides expert guidance, in-depth educational materials, and unique online tools that place you in control, so you can forget the usual hassles of the jewelry shopping process and focus just on the romance. That's important on Valentine's Day as well. Blue Nile's diamond price guarantee allows you to compare competitors' diamond against one of theirs. Blue Nile can even meet or beat their price. Every order is insured and arrives quickly in discreet packaging and won't give away what's inside. Shipping in is always free, and so are returns. Right now, you can save up to 50% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com to save up to 50% off. That's BlueNile.com. Check it out now before Valentine's Day sneaks up on you, and it is here. And get the gift of her dreams at BlueNile.com. All right, we told you at the top, this episode is brought to you by our official sponsor here on the Locked On Network with our sportsbook, also the official sportsbook of the NFL. It is FanDuel. This is the only app you need at your Super Bowl party to take care of you. It's really exciting to be on board with FanDuel and them on board with us. If you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy, and Super Bowl is a great way to get started. Download FanDuel now so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with no sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. If you missed it, we broke down those props and the odds and all that good stuff on FanDuel Sportsbook and our breakdown of the game and our prop show there on Thursday. So check that out. And we made all those picks. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So you'll get paid right on game day if it all pays off for you. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockdown to claim your no sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/lockdown. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, it is time to continue the show here, and let's look at the DraftKings tournament lineup we're looking at in the Classic Showdown slate. So we talked about how much we like A.J. Brown, and I knew right away when I was constructing this lineup, I didn't want to have either of the quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts, captain, because I wanted some flexibility. I wanted to see if I could get both of them in the lineup. So that's a spoiler alert there, but I like the price for A.J. Brown when we did the multiplier to get the return on him. So it was up to $13,800. So I was okay playing for that Brown. He's a unique pick here for the captain. A lot of people are going to pick one of the quarterbacks. Maybe look at Travis Kelce. But I think A.J. Brown, I don't see that being a dominant pick here. And I do love A.J. Brown in this game. So I think, again, when I say that, I'm thinking he has blow-up potential, 100 yards, multiple touchdowns, that kind of thing here for Brown. So 13,800, didn't mind doing that now at all. So I experimented to see what we can do to get both quarterbacks in the lineup. So Mahomes, again, at his price, he was actually cheaper than Jalen Hurts in this format. We talked about how Mahomes was a little bit more expensive than Jalen Hurts. Now Hurts is at 11,200. Mahomes at straight up 11,000 when you're not using the multiplier or captaining either guy. So when we're looking at it, okay, so we have Brown at 13,800. So of course we want to attach him to Hurts. So let's get Hurts in there first at 11,200. So that's cool. But I really think differentiating will have the two quarterbacks in the lineup, and we'll have to see. Might have to do a punt play later. So 11,000 for Mahomes. You have 1,100, or you have 1,200 more there for what you're looking at with Hurts. So you're looking at Hurts and Mahomes in that lineup. So you've invested quite a bit, 13,800, 11,200 on Hurts, and 1,100 or 11,000 on Mahomes. So look, it's a lot of expenses here that you're going. So you're not going to get any bargains with these guys, and that's the bottom line. So we have 5-digit prices on Browns, Hurts, and Mahomes. Now let's get into what we can do otherwise. There's not a lot here, right? So I thought about, okay, can I get Devonta Smith in? I really like Smith in this game. I'd like to get some exposure to him in DFS. So I like Brown and Smith to really do things on the outside against this young Chiefs cornerback core. So again, at those prices, I'm going to just say I'm going to lock in Devonta Smith. At this point, we know we're going to punt play it somewhere. So keep loading up on all the stars that we think are going to go off in this game. Right now, we can't afford Travis Kelce. That's fine. I mean, we still have both quarterbacks. I like Brown and Smith at 8,600. So now we're really down to not much here. So we're going to have one punt play, one cheap flyer. Guess who was available at 4,400? It is Kadarius Toney, who we also liked in the FanDuel format as well. So again, this is the receiver that I would invest in most, and he's the cheapest of the Chiefs options here in DFS. So 4,400 for him. So just have $700 left. What do we do here? Well, I'm looking at potential for the Chiefs to use two tight end sets. Who's a tight end that could potentially score? Is it Noah Gray? No, maybe look at Jody Fortson. Yeah, I think they might use some multiple tight end sets in this game. He has scored in the season. So when you're looking at Jody Fortson, really not a bad option here with that lineup. So really, I mean, it's kind of surprising that Fortson doesn't have a lot more. I mean, you have Gray and like Bell there behind Travis Kelce, but he's a guy that has scored and done some, and I could get the cheap return on him. We could get 4K. If he gets a touchdown, you're probably looking at that here, or 4X, I should say, on the return here for Fortson. If you can get 4X on that, then it really pays off because now you're in business with Hurts and Mahomes. So you just need to get in the end zone. Toney can have a big yardage game. maybe also score, and then you're really looking good with the bottom of this lineup, because we know if Tony and Fortson in the end zone, it's going to help Mahomes' value as well, and also takes away from those who have Travis Kelce in this lineup. So again, Kelce, I don't mind paying for in the FanDuel situation, but the DraftKings one, I think I'm okay because I can get the two quarterbacks in there, and I'd rather do that here based on the price points, especially with that captaincy involved in the showdown mode. All right, so there you have it. There's your picks for DraftKings here on the tournament. So we have FanDuel, DraftKings. We do have price picks to break down. We'll do that in our final segment here on Locked On Fantasy Football. Go to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. Meet with an expert who will do them for you. TurboTax experts can relieve you from the stress of taxes and file for you so you can not do taxes. Not taxes, not taxes, not taxes. Show your eyes things that are not taxes. Unpack a moving box of not taxes. Taste not taxes. Sing not taxes a lullaby. Hope not taxes. Sleeps through the night. Grab a saddle and ride not taxes right into the sunset. With TurboTax, an expert will do your taxes from start to finish, ensuring your taxes are done right, guaranteed. So you can relax. Feels good to be done with your taxes, doesn't it? Come to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. Visit TurboTax.com to learn more. Intuit TurboTax, full service products only. Video meeting while expert does your taxes required. See guarantee details. TurboTax.com/guarantees, the home of not taxes for you. All right, it is time to close the show here on Locked On Fantasy Football, and let's look at the prize picks of the week, shall we? So let's get where we want to go with the passing. We did on our props there for FanDuel Sportsbook, liked Mahomes going over his total, but here 285.5, we're going more on our prize picks selection here. We're feeling that a little bit more than Jalen Hurts at 238.5. So I just don't want to avoid that number here in this situation. But with Mahomes, I feel really good that he's going to throw for 300 yards. That's all I need to know. And think about it. So 285.5, going more with our prize picks projection here with Patrick Mahomes. I also like him at 18.5 rushing yards, more or less. I'm going more with Mahomes. I think he's going to scramble a little bit, do some things. That ankle is going to be okay. He's going to surprise the Eagles, be flush out of the pocket. Something's going to happen there. I think he gets to 20 yards. So we're looking at 300 yards passing and 20 yards rushing from Mahomes to deliver here on price picks, and I think he'll get that here. So that's two of our picks of the week. So we transitioned there quickly from quarterback to rushing attack here, so Mahomes being a part of it. So I'm not interested in Jerick McKinnon at all. I'm not interested in Miles Sanders at all. So let's look at Isaiah Pacheco here. 48.5 is his number, more or less than that projection. We're going more here on prize picks for Pacheco. So, yeah, I do like Pacheco. I think he's going to be involved. I think he at least has 60, 70 yards rushing in this game. So Isaiah Pacheco is a good value there. I also like Kenneth Gainwell. I think he'll be more involved in the rushing attack, as we said. It's why we liked him in the FanDuel format here on the cash game. So we're looking at Kenneth Gainwell, 19.5. I think he does more than that rushing yards. Now, receiving gets interesting. Travis Kelce is at 77.5 at prize picks. I'm going more Travis Kelce. I think he breaks 85 to 90 at least. This game probably pushes 100 yards here. So Travis Kelce at 77.5, more on that. Of course, I like A.J. Brown at 69.5. Have you not been paying attention to the game? Talk here that I really loved A.J. Brown all week. This is a big game for A.J. Brown. I'm going to look at everything. 69.5, no problem. He's going to clear that. We're going more. So this is the one I feel the best about overall. A.J. Brown, this game, I think the situation is just too good. They've just been off a little bit with Hurts' bad shoulder and connecting with him downfield. So this is why I like A.J. Brown a lot. Talent. The number one thing you look at. And outside of the guys, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and you got Devonta Smith, potentially Jalen Hurts, this is the most talented player on the field there. So 69.5 more on the prize picks projection for one A.J. Brown with his receiving yardage. Now, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I said I didn't like a lot of other formats, but in prize picks, I do. 35.5. You don't need a lot to get there. 35.5 more on the receiving yardage there for Kadarius Toney. That's, I should say, Marquez Valdes-Scantling getting ahead, but he's only at 26.5. That's Kadarius Toney. So even less. So I love Toney even more than Valdes-Scantling, but I do like Valdes-Scantling to hit more than 35.5. So Toney 26.5. So just lump those in together. on the Chiefs side again, and they'll contribute enough. So you just have to make sure they add up, right, to make sense here. That if you like Mahomes to throw for 300, and he clears it pretty well here, so there's more room for Kelsey to go more. That leaves it for MBS and Tony. I think Juju Smith-Schuster may be the odd man out in this game a little bit more with where they line him up. I think they'll use Tony more in the open field. MBS maybe potential for some garbage time or some downfield action. So I think the number with MBS is just so low. That's why I'm looking at 35.5. Tony even lower, 26.5. Those are the Chiefs option I'm circling. And one more is the Jerick McKinnon. I think there'll be some checkdowns in this game as well. How you look at it, the Eagles pass rush is there. If the Eagles build a big lead, then you'll see a lot of Jerick McKinnon as well there in the second half. But again, just like Pacheco hitting 50 or 60 rushing yards, I'll see Jerick McKinnon hitting about 25 receiving yards easily in this one. So I'm going more on Jerick McKinnon receiving yards. So that's three Chiefs, Valdez, Scantling, Tony, and McKinnon, as well as Kelsey. So it's all going to come together here from Mahomes there. That, again, I really like him to clear 285.5 quite a bit here, well more than that. So I would say well more for all these guys and plenty to go around. And the only Eagle I'm investing in, for sure, I don't like the number too much for Devonta Smith at 60.5. I think it's pretty high. Dallas Goedert, a little bit hit or miss here with his usage. So again, if Brown dominates the game, it's going to be a little bit for the rest of the guys. So I want to avoid that for sure. All right, there you have it. There's a breakdown of your DFS and your DFS report for Super Bowl 57, what you should do, however you're playing it on FanDuel, DraftKings, or Prize Picks there with the principal offensive players for all these teams. So excited to finally get a game here. So this is the last show of the week before Super Bowl 57. We will not have a show on Monday. We will take that off. I'll be traveling back to Charlotte from Phoenix here at the Super Bowl. So we'll be taking that day off for you on the show, and we'll come back with you on Tuesday with the breakdown and maybe look at these teams going to the offseason there and what the biggest challenges are in the aftermath of Super Bowl 57. So looking forward to do that. That's next Tuesday. Good luck with your Super Bowl action and betting picks and fantasy, all that good stuff here as you watch the game. There should be a fun one. It should be a classic one. Hope everything falls in your favor. There's a lot of scoring in this game. That's what we want mostly in fantasy football. So enjoy the game wherever you're watching. Stay safe wherever you're watching. And please drink and gamble responsibly while you're doing this as well, because it's important, because you want to have fun but not push it too far here and put anyone in danger or just get a little too crazy here. So again, do things responsibly here. It'll be a lot of fun to take in the Super Bowl. Guarantee that. Thanks again for making Locked On Fantasy Football your first listen today. Subscribe to Locked On NFL Podcast and get daily conversations on the biggest NFL stories, plus in-depth analysis of the biggest games with NFL key predictions every Friday and Monday. Local insiders cover the weekend with the game-to-game episodes. Locked On NFL available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Or Locked On Fantasy Football. This has been Vinnie Iyer. Enjoy Super Bowl Sunday. We'll see you on the flip side on Tuesday.